Hello, Matteo. Welcome back also to everyone.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we have a great edition.
Today is great, also because I'm so excited about the topic.
Yeah.
Deeply excited, because it's kind of like there was a little bit of drama. I've been, it interrupted, all this drama interrupted me reading the book of my dear friend Sandro that he just launched. Beautiful book, by the way. I love the cover. Matteo, I'm gonna send you one because I think you will love it. And so Moonshot, and it's exactly funny thing that you and I, when we started this whole thing, we always said we need to go for a moonshot.
Yeah.
And fun enough, there is the title of the book. So it's but I know that you are also busy reading outside, and you also got interrupted, but from a different topic. But yeah, let's talk about this small. Can I call it a drama, Theo, or is not?
No, it's not a drama. To be honest, it's literally a security vulnerability
with people running around.
Well, yeah, because okay, so let me say something like that. If you create a framework, and then somebody else can take over your server essentially without you knowing that happened, and that does not depend on essentially anything, okay, minus you using this specific version, okay, you get a 10 out of 10 of the vulnerability score, okay, and which I think, let me check something.
But sorry, can I ask you something? Yeah. Because we're talking about security vulnerability. Has it been fixed, or is still?
It is fixed. It is fixed. The problem is people don't update. So that's.
Yeah, but Theo, you and I have been also this morning in a call where people are using Node version that are going to be out of live.
Yes. So okay, let me clarify the status of this. Okay, this is the log4j moment of the JavaScript community. Okay, so this is my statement. Okay.
Theo, the sound.
Oh. No, this one.
No. Matteo, it's your track.
I need. Okay, yeah, it's okay. Let's do it again. Okay, this is the the React to shell vulnerability is the log4j moment of the JavaScript community. It did work. Okay, fine. We can do it again. Okay, we can do it again. So this is phenomenally good, and there is a really, really good write-up from Guillermo Roch that you, Vercel CEO.
Hi to Guillermo. Ciao, Guillermo. It's been a tough time, but
that you should read, and we're going to add it to the link. Okay. To be honest, I don't know why they didn't get it didn't become super ultra viral, because it's super deep.
We should have invited actually Guillermo today. Maybe we should.
We should.
Hey, Guillermo, why don't you come to our podcast and have a chat? 2 Italians and an Argentinian, so almost an Italian, so we can all kind of like have a good time.
So so let's clarify what is the situation of that. That is essentially a 10 out of 10 mean I can take control of the remote server. Okay, and it's a complete loss of confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the system. Is the most severe thing that you can do. Okay, now
and it's also an achievement because it's a 10 out of 10. So that's
well, it's very hard. It's very it's hard. It's not. To be honest, it's a lot of security researchers say that their bug is super problematic, but in reality, most of the time they are not. Okay, this one, what makes this one very incredibly hard, okay, incredibly bad is that a lot of Next.js applications are front-facing, okay?
Yeah.
And it's relatively hard for a firewall, a WAF, or whatever else you have deployed to catch this, okay? And we need to cover this later, but this is actually very interesting, okay? I was following the drama online about this, and the fundamental problem here is people are not updating their software, okay? So they release the patch, they release the vulnerability, people are not updating their software, okay? And that is the problem that the community is facing now, because you have a Next.js application and you are vulnerable, okay?
Which is a common pattern, unfortunately, right?
Now, let's talk a little bit about what this is, okay? And the shift that happened between with the newer version of React, okay? React adopted essentially, as always, had supported server-side rendering with iteration on the front end. How does that mean? It means that you get your page is pre-rendered on the server in full, sent to the browser, all the React machinery rates the state, and that is now a fully client-side application. Okay, the user can opt into any of the URLs of the tree. They get the same thing, but they get it at the server speed, and so you get a lot of user improvement in terms of first access and first meaningful paint and so on and so forth, reactivity indicator by using server-side rendering, okay? That's the theory, okay? Now, this has been there for a long time. I've talked a lot in a lot of various blog post things, so this exists, okay? Now, however, what they've done, they went one step further, okay, with the Next.js and React team when they launch what they call React Server Components, RSC. Okay, this is highly debated. As you can find a lot of debates about this. I don't want to go into the usability and the criticism that was done to this in the past.
This is a drama-free space, even if
it's a drama. Well, no, it's not a drama-free space, but we are not going into that specific thing. Okay,
we focus one drama at a time.
Now, essentially, RSC React Server Component is built on a protocol called Flight that allows to for the front end to ask for some rendering on the server. Okay. Now, because these can have and invoke functions, okay? To be honest, is very similar in all intent and purposes to GraphQL, okay? It's less declarative in terms of what the user expose. They just write JavaScript, okay? Well, kinda, okay? They write JSX mostly, okay? That they get heavily transpiled, and then all these protocol details are handled by the compiler, transpiler, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, the problem is because essentially it's in practice though is a remote function invocation.
Yeah.
Okay. What do remote function invocation have? Parameters. Okay. Yeah. And they have the IDs of the functions and the things that you want to call, okay, on those objects. Now, this is the problem, okay, the concept that we are talking about, okay? Now, this is a highly dynamic and very securely sensitive operation, okay? Yeah. And they allow concatenate in the protocol. It allows for multiple things to be chained and reused and so on and so forth. The problem here is that the problem that they were facing was that there was no validation, okay, in terms of certain properties that the user could actually call them, okay? Yeah. And specifically, they were accessing you could access the constructor function, the constructor property of the then function on a promise.
Ooh.
And then they were wrecked. Okay.
Explain probably why, because
hmm?
maybe explain why the constructor of the den, because you can basically override what the den is going to do in a nutshell. You can inject your own behavior, your own code, your own stuff.
Yeah.
So most likely what was going on, what was the most typical injection to make full control?
Oh, you can just send a post to the RSC path, and then you get a shell back. You can use whatever JavaScript you want on the server. It's brilliant.
So you potentially can open a socket with the command line, but it's
and a
limited to the
repo you
privilege.
can open. Yes, exactly. You can connect to your server from there. Okay. And by the way, nothing is logged, so just so that you are aware. Okay. You can open a socket to your server, and now you can run a node REPL, and you have control.
And what is more kind of like interesting, if you think about the hacking or whatever, is that, like you said, it's not log, because that's not logging. It's just like a REPL.
Yeah, no.
There.
So the problem is, like, this happens in how the protocol is built. Okay, so it's very hard to keep track. Like, you get access, then you can cover your own tracks mostly. Okay,
And
then you have access to all the secrets. So
correct, exactly, because I can
from
call
there you can get access to cookie secrets, authentication, your database, whatever.
I can echo the env, shop.
Essentially, yeah.
And in terms of like security boundaries, it's going to be the same security boundary as the user who's running Node.
Yes.
And we know that a lot of people don't have a good practice of running Node as a separate limited user.
The problem is different here. Okay. It's not about running Node. Okay. The problem is in how you have structured your system. Okay. From an architecture and security boundary point of view. Okay. So you have depends if you treat your Next.js and React server as highly trusted components, or if you didn't. Okay. If you have a large enough company, okay, you probably have an API, and that API has clear boundaries, okay, and a clear security cut, okay. For those companies, to be honest, this is bad, but not that bad. It's very bad, okay, but it's the attack surface, okay, is limited.
Limited, yeah.
You can probably access all the data that is passing through for other users, do these kind of things, okay? Stole some secrets, but you cannot access to the whole company, okay? Because you need to call the API, okay? So you are limited to between you and that API. You probably have an API key, whatever. Yes, that's get leaked, but at least you're passing through the API. Okay?
Yeah, 100%.
However, if you're connecting to the database straight from Next.js, then you get the database and all the things.
And then you are.
Yeah.
I mean, then it's jackpot, right?
And then it's jackpot. Yep. Like I don't know if we get, like, I have received a couple of emails of companies notifying that there was some breach of data in the last week. I don't know if they sent it preemptively after this was released or not. Like by, I think, GDPR, I think something like that, you are required to communicate if there was a potential leak of personal information or something.
And so this is a pure React problem.
So the root of this is React, yes.
And maybe what you can do is, I mean, we went through the mechanism where the kind of like breaking point is, but do you see actually, I mean, can we go deeper a little bit in why this exchange kind of like was compromised? Like, if you look at basically the whole issue, right? We said you can take control by injecting and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Do you see any other attack factor or another relevant thing kind of like happening around that?
Well, okay, let me rephrase this. during remote invocation of things, okay, is hard.
Okay.
Specifically, if you allow for objects to be reconstructed across the boundary. Okay.
So when you do serialization, deserialization, you mean?
Well, you can't, okay, because it's the code. Okay, so you need to tell, okay, I want this class to execute there. Okay, I want invoke this function over there with these parameters. Okay, now those parameters can be anything, so I need to, take into account a few things. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and then combine the output of multiple invocations together. Anyway, all of this. So, it's relatively bad on that side. Okay. Yeah. Now, the fundamental point, though, it relies on the same ground truth of prototype pollution. Okay. So it's, to be honest, this is a variation of a prototype pollution attack. Okay. Where it's not really polluting a prototype, but it's using the prototype chain to, or a lack of a prototype check, okay, to trigger this situation. Okay, so
that's interesting, actually. And but how did they find it out?
There is a security researcher spent maybe an infinite amount of time. Like he saw that this was vulnerable, and to be honest, I understand why he thought this was vulnerable. Okay, he actually spent the time into looking into it. Like later,
what was your intuition like that could be breakable?
Like okay, the problem is related to, okay, let me explain this very easily. Okay, so you think so the exploit runs based on two principles. Okay, first of all, I can set a property on an object. Okay.
Okay.
Then I can tell something else in the same system to call that property as a function.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this should not be possible. And this is where the problem starts. Okay.
I should validate. Be possible because you should. Yeah, sure. No, 100%. But I say because
if I cannot, as a user, I cannot send in a function.
100%. But by spec, I should be able to do it, right?
You can protect against this. You just need to, put the.
No. I mean the spec allows you to do it, but what you're saying is that there was no protection to avoid that the framework would actually enable these things so easily. Sure.
Well, it's not easy. Like this sounds like an incantation. Okay.
Okay. And so how was it patched then? Because you said it was fixed. What was the patch?
It has a super nice as on property check.
No, really?
Yeah.
So object as on property.
Yeah.
And if it's true, it's gonna fail.
Yeah. Well, no. If it's true, it's going to execute. If not, no. But yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. So one line of code, like not even. One
the fix for React was 1,000 lines overall.
Oh, okay. Because of the propagation, I mean, is spread a little bit everywhere, right?
Yeah, spread everywhere. But you need to catch this thing, okay? Like you will need to catch this error, handle it correctly, and so on and so forth. But yeah.
And so, what's the impact of this? Do you see any impact in the ecosystem of this change, or you think the
problem when a big kind of attack like this happen? Okay.
Yeah.
It shows some systematic vulnerability. Okay. Then people then security researchers pile up and start researching that framework for other bugs like that. or even other frameworks for kind of the same bugs.
So you're saying that basically when one bug opens, the
10
can of
more shows
worm.
up. Yeah, it's a can of worm. Yeah, it's a total can of worm. Like, this is the problem, okay? It's a total can of worm. It happens to Node all the time. Like, if you see Node, okay, after, if there is a vulnerability of one kind, of a new kind, okay,
Yeah.
then after that subsystem have maybe 2 or 3 or even more immediately released in the next few security releases.
It's also understandable, right? Because then people are going to focus obsessively on that particular issue and they find all permutations, right? So it's
exactly, and find all permutation and find, like, for example, this is how we got the permission system of Node.js hardened.
Yeah, because one of my questions was like, when you see those kind of issues, right? What do you think is going to be the impact on teams and organizations rethinking about the architectural model, or how they manage global state and so on and so forth? So, what is in your opinion, the impact of such CVs in how software builders and organizations react?
So, for me, the first thing would be a little bit of, especially on security-minded organization, on how they would thought about these Next.js and React, the security level, okay, where they sit in their DMZ setup, okay. So it can sit at the front, okay, very very low privileges. Okay.
Yeah.
And I probably always recommended to do that. Okay. And I think that is probably how people would do it even further.
Yeah.
For example, as I said, build your APIs as a thing, then use React Server components and all these other things to call those APIs. Okay. Do a clear separation between the rendering and the business logic. Okay. And this is a massive win generically for the architecture of your application. Also because allows you to split maybe a little bit responsibility between different teams. Okay. Now it requires more work. So if you think this comes cheap, it doesn't. Okay, but it's I think it's a good trade-off. Also because it allows multiple people to call the same APIs, limit database access between different apps, and so on and so on. Like, a lot of very good architectural patterns.
So, and basically, you basically think it's all coming down to architecture, in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems that there is the common pattern, right? That we saw also in the previous episode and so on. That
yes.
What I kind of like see happening more and more often is we are actually realizing the importance of architecture, not as an overall practice, but just like to kind of like make system more secure. So the architecture comes as a first-class citizen when we look at security or maintainability, or also kind of like different concerns, right? With something very obvious, but I think actually reinforcing it and make it clear to people that you need to put the right effort on architecting solution and not just like follow frameworks for what they are. Because frameworks, they're just enabler, but you need to make a conscious choice on an architecture, or else you're just like an implementer. Which is nothing bad, but I mean, most of the companies have different requirements. And did we forget about anything about?
No, there is a little bit more to say. Okay, I want to congratulate to our Vercel handle this setup. Okay, they did a few things, a list of things. So first of all, they opened a new bug bounty program over the weekend to see. So they implemented it. So first thing, they implemented a way to detect this attack in their firewall. Okay, so when you hit the Vercel CDN, your requests are pre-validated that you cannot be hit. Then they opened a bug bounty report so that people could report their findings and get paid, and they put a bounty of $50,000 for each one. Okay. They reported back, Malte, Ubi, their CTO, reported back that there was, I think, 15 valid WAF bypass that were reported. Wow. So it's a good payout that they distributed this time. Okay.
But so you're saying that basically they implemented clearly on their own cloud first the fix.
Of course. Well, for the others, you should just update. Okay, sorry, to be clear. Like the easy solution, the problem here is you're not updating your software. Okay, so
no, I got it.
so if you have running it on your own on your system, you should have either that or studied your own protection essentially. Now, then this was actually very, very good. To be honest, I'm very I think it was a very fair play to them. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say a nice provocative statement here because it's me. If I don't provoke, I'm not happy. But it looks like that actually companies they are piggybacking on all the security issues and so on to bring more power to the importance of having their own platforms. But what I see as a big lack.
I don't. To be honest, also Cloudflare shipped their WAF system. Okay, for protecting.
But sure, they're selling it, right? So they tell you that
they're selling their WAF. Again, I'm not saying well.
Like I'm just saying that there are so many things. Like we spoke last week about AWS with this new primitive, but still the secret sauce on how they do the whole orchestration of those firecrackers, nobody knows it.
Yeah,
it's a mystery, right? So I'm not trying to promote what we are doing. I'm gonna promote though the book of my friend Sandro Moonshot, but I'm not gonna promote what we are building. I hope Sandro is gonna promote then what we are building. But jokes aside, I think what those issues and then this new mindset are emphasizing is kind of like the importance of growing a more and more open core initiative in all these kind of like key components inside of the enterprise ecosystem. Like I think it's probably a shout to say to everyone, hey, let's rethink this model because the enterprise needs really something that is closer to open core nowadays than proprietary SaaS, PaaS licenses and so on. Once again, purely self-promotion on what we're doing, but I think we are allowing our own Banter to promote our own ideas and what we are doing. And Theo, we are almost at time, but this one was the last episode of this year, of 2025.
This was the last episode of this year.
So that I am a little bit melancholic. We're gonna take a break, coming back right after the holidays.
Yeah, Luca, come on, is Christmas time? Okay,
perfect occasion to buy a great book and to give it to your dear
one. Thank you all for. I just want to thank everybody that have watched and followed us during this year. Okay, we will be back in January. We still don't have a date, but we will be back in January. Okay.
No, we have a date.
Oh, we have a date, Luca.
Yeah, in mid-January.
Mid-January, yeah. We will be back mid-January. Okay, to give you some time to
the second Wednesday of the month.
Second Wednesday of the month.
Right, and we're gonna start this new year with trying to kind of like cater more to practical discussions for everyone following us. What we want to do in the next season is to primarily focus on all the bleeding of neck problems that you are all facing. Try to give you our honest point of view, our provocative point of view, but most likely we want you to go out of this podcast with a solution, being our solution or another solution, but we want you to, get out of this investment of half an hour listening to us with something that is valuable for you all. So with no further ado, Matteo, thank you for this beautiful season. Thanks for this beautiful months of chatting. And I'm looking forward to continue after the holidays.
Bye.
Ciao, everyone.
Ciao.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.